Traditional demagogues meet four rules. The first one is they posture as a man of the masses, as a mirror of the common people, and that usually means that they're attacking elites. They're setting themselves up as against elites. The second thing is they trigger great overpowering waves of emotion. The third one is that they use that emotion for political benefit, for their own advancement politically. And the fourth one is the most important rule, which is that they threaten or they break established rules of governance. And for a long time, I didn't think that Donald Trump met either the first or the fourth rules, but over the course of the last few months, I think he's stampeded across both of them.
Right. Rules 2 and 3, lots of people meet. The idea of motivating emotion and then using that for politics. But the first one, motivating the masses against the elites, and then the last one, why are they necessarily bad?
Well, it's a great point, Ali, and they are not necessarily bad. If you go back throughout history, to get kind of wonky with your audience, the Oxford English Dictionary, which tells the history of words going back for hundreds of years, the first definition of the word demagogue is actually positive. So for centuries, people who were doing those things, but the system that they were attacking was inherently corrupt, and that was the case in some countries. A demagogue who was using the people and motivating the masses against a system could be a force for good, but that is not the case when the system that the demagogue is operating in is a constitutional democracy like the United States, and that's what Trump is doing, and I think that's why it's so alarming.
So isn't there validity, though, to Trump giving voice to those who say we've got a constitutional democracy, we get to go out and vote, we can throw the bums out if we want, we have a Supreme Court that operates independently of the government, and yet we feel that something is wrong? He's giving voice to something that's going on. There's something in the political situation that is allowing the birth of a demagogue.
Yeah, it's a great question, but here's the thing. So demagogues play to our worst emotions. They've been called our appetites, the base emotions we have, the lowest common denominator. I mean, I think of them in the spectrum of figures that you have in any democracy. They're kind of the bottom feeders. And so we know that they're not good for us. Any politician could decide to demagogue, but it's really, most of them are restrained because they see that kind of behavior and appeal is beneath them. The most dangerous thing that demagogues have done throughout time is they basically set up a state within the state of people who are accountable only to them alone. And then the really dangerous thing is that when that state within a state starts swamping the state itself, when you look at something, so Donald Trump, he is not only telling lies, like about the thousands of people who are supposedly in Jersey City cheering on 9/11, but when they're shown to be lies, he doubles down on them. So he's kind of rewriting the rules of truth. That's a little worrisome. There was an attack on a man by some of his supporters, and he said, well, maybe he should have been roughed up. That was violence. And this latest, there's other things like this, but this latest proposal to bar Muslims from coming into the country, it violates most of our constitutional ideas. It's probably against international law, but worse than that, we like in the United States, in our constitutional democracy, to think about people as having a limitless future, as we think about them as individuals. We don't have government officials talking about them in terms of invidious stereotypes, and that's what this really is. And then it misleads and manipulates millions of Americans